This is our recorded completion lecture for the last topic on Module 4, our mosses and worts, collectively the bryophytes. Okay? So bryophytes are believed to be the most closely related with terrestrial plants. No? So bryophytes are characteristically non-vascular or non-tracheophyte. They don't have specific structures that can be classified as roots, stems, or leaves. No? And essentially, these uh, representative species of the mosses and worts, no, they unlike your modern terrestrial plants, they do not have lignin, no. And because of that, fossilized evidence or fossil evidence on their existence is actually rare or very minimal, no. In terms of their geologic history, they appeared about 450 million years ago during the Ordovician period. And they later on they became dominated by vascular plants during the Silurian period. Okay, um, but there are a number of species identified under Bryophyta, so thousands, like 25,000 and above, and if you look into their phylogenetic placement within the Viridi plantae, so they are related to, they are positioned here. Let's see, are grouped together. These three groups. Once they call this and the derived character they share with terrestrial plants is the fact that they're able to produce embryos, no? During their reproductive cycle. Okay. Additionally, no, more information about biophyta. Because of their small size and their relatively not complicated structures, or organization, no, total organization. Bryophyta do not really have uh, conducting tissues, xylem or phloem. They don't have that, unlike your modern terrestrial plants. Instead, within the sporophyte, within the I don't know, developing or within the individual species that appears like plant-like in appearance, that looks like a plant in terms of appearance, modern day plant in terms of appearance. Bryophyta possess conducting cells within the uh, species, and these conducting cells allow for movement of nutrients, movement of water. Okay. So in terms of reproduction, similar with plants, with higher plants, Bryophyta also show alternation of generations. Okay, the dominant haploid gametophyte and the diploid sporophyte generation. So there are key steps that you have to remind yourselves with. Okay, so starting with a diploid sporophyte, the diploid sporophyte, which is a product of fertilization, okay, the sporophyte produces the spores. Okay, so the sporophyte has a specific structure called the sporangium that in-houses the spores. The spores are released, usually driven by the wind, and these spores undergo mitosis to give rise to gametophytes. After the male gametophyte spore produces the male gametophyte, the female gametophyte spore produces the female gametophyte. So the gametophytes, remember, are haploid. Okay, so they are haploid. Now, the male and female gametophytes have specific structures that actually form the sperm and the egg. So the antheridium is the male gametophyte sperm-producing structure, while the archegonium is the female gametophyte spore not spore but egg-forming structure. Bryophyta, characteristically during its reproduction, no, prior to fertilization, the sperm is actually motile. So it's flagellated and it's able to be carried by fluids like water. It will swim from anteridium. It will swim towards the archegonium area of a female gametophyte, the archegonium proper. And once that the sperm and the egg meets, okay, the fertilization takes place. The fertilized zygote, no, develops as is going to be the developing embryo, and that developing embryo will yield or will produce the sporophyte, which again can start the cycle of alternation of generations, since sporophyte, once mature, is able to produce the spores that can again produce the gametophytes. Okay. All right. Now let's cover the major types of bryophyta. So we have hepaticophyta. Hepaticophyta, the liverworts, are one of the first ones to appear. So they are able to colonize a number of ecosystems, especially terrestrial habitats, and there are more than 7,000 existing species of this group of bryophytes. Some gametophytes of Hepaticophyta form lobate structures, hence the term hepatic or hepa, since it looks like liver lobes. No? The appearance here you can see like lobular in structure. No? The gametophytes are lobular. The shape is very similar to the lobes of the liver, the animal liver. Okay. Then we have Anthocerotophyta, which, similar with Hepaticophyta, are able to colonize a variety of terrestrial habitats. But in most instances, they are requiring a lot of water activity or water concentration, no? Or volume of water. In most habitats that you can find Anthocerotophyta, water is always a key player, no? Anthocerotophyta have short blue-green gametophyte, which is the dominant phase of the of the group, no? So Anthocerotophyta hornworts, I forgot to mention. So for Hepaticophyta, we have the layman term, or the more common term is liverworts. No? So for Anthocerotophyta, the sporophyte that will produce spores for dispersal are tubular in appearance. That's a defining characteristic of the group. Tubular or horn-like in appearance. These sporophytes, they emerge from the parent gametophyte. Usually they are still connected for a bit, for a while, and they will continue to grow throughout the life of the bryophyta. Stomata also appear in hornworts, and they are abundant on the sporophyte. Some photosynthetic cells are found in the body of the wort, and they contain a chloroplast that can carry out photosynthetic activity. Okay, so I mentioned this already. This is an example of the life cycle of a hornwort, Anthoceros agrestis. Okay, so you have your sporophyte, the tubular sporophyte here, releasing spores that can go undergo mitosis, producing the gametophyte. That gametophyte later on can mature either as a male or a female gametophyte, archegonium, anteridia, and then eggs and sperm are produced respectively. And once egg and sperm are able to meet, fertilize one another, the zygote is produced. The developing embryo will give rise again to the sporophyte. Then within the sporophyte, spore formation is produced by the process of meiosis. Okay. Lastly, we have mosses. No? Mosses, which are very important ecologically as they slow down the process of soil erosion. They are highly dependent on water, so they are able to store moisture and also nutrients that are present in the soil. They also provide shelter to small animals as when they are in colonial organization, no? They appear as very distinct aggregates. No? They can also serve as food for some herbivores. No? Mosses are very sensitive to air pollution and are actually used as indicator species if the environment is already highly polluted or not. If you will notice, no, or for your information rather, in areas that are more upland where air can be less polluted, mosses are very common. While in areas that are downstream or downland, they are not really that populous anymore. Yung kanilang distributions mostly on areas where air is really not polluted. Okay? So in terms of life cycle, just follows the generalized life cycle of a bryophyta. Okay? I think that's all. No, that completes our lecture, our module 4 on protozoa, algae, fungi, mosses, and worts. So make sure to watch this recorded lecture aside in addition to the one for fungi. Also make sure that you read through this handout, no, in preparation for your long exam on Monday. I believe I already uploaded this.